Curtis, come. I always need you when I preach about this. Give him a microphone. Oh, yes. Come and stand by me. Now, you know him, right? Okay. Now, you tell me, you see, because when we started the First Love Church, the first day, I think was the first day, we were there on the very first day we came. I mean, he was a little smaller than this. I think he's put on some weight since he married. Yes. Now, when we came, when I started to talk about all these things, you tell us your story, how it happened, you and your dad.
So when
you were growing up.
Yeah, when I was growing up, basically. My mom and my dad were married. They never divorced until he passed. But there was always friction for as long as I could remember. And of course, because my dad was busier, my mom was at home. And so I naturally gravitated towards my mother.
She used to give you food?
Food, care for me. Like my mom was my person. Yeah. So like
she loved you?
She loved me, yes.
When you were not well?
Everything. She was there for me.
Mama.
Yeah.
Sweet mama.
So there were times that maybe they would have an argument or a fight, and then he would go. And then I would be left with her and she'd be crying and stuff. So all of those.
It broke your heart.
Yeah. And it set my heart in a place.
Your mother is crying.
Yeah.
Ooh. She's suffering under the torture of your father, the torment.
So for as long as I could remember, that was my disposition towards my father, that he was like this very hard man.
Yeah, come this way. Screen, we are watching. Put us close up. Who is that? Yes.
That he was this very hard man, a man who had...
I want to be in the picture.
But he was this very hard man, this man who caused my mom to cry. And that really made me not like him at all. So
you didn't like him?
No, not one bit. So basically...
Focus on him now. Close up. Come on, be active in your mind, okay? Yes, thank you.
So basically his role in my life was provider. The only times that I would come into contact with him, the only times I would call him was if I needed something. So most of the time, especially when I got to uni, when I would call him, hello dad, hi, okay, so what do you need? Was the next question that he would ask. Then I'll tell him, okay, I need this. Then it's okay, I'll send you.
Things like what?
The money. Or like maybe the next term is coming, I need to pay my fees, I need to pay my hostel fees, I need to change a phone, I need to buy a laptop, I need spending money, stuff like that. Then I would just tell him, then he would say, okay, how much? Then that was basically the extent of our relationship. And then even when I was not in school and I was home, we lived in the same house, but we basically had no contact.
How many live in the same house but there's no contact? Most of the time. Okay.
Yes. So when maybe he's at work, when the house, my mother, the children, maybe are watching a show on TV.
Watching television.
Yeah, and it's like the family gathering. And then we hear that, this is the horn. My father's... Yeah. At the gate.
Boo. Then what happens?
And then someone, okay, I would say, Ebae.
Ebae. What does that mean, Ebae?
It means he's coming.
He's coming. His name has turned to he. Ebae. Ebae means A is he. It or he is coming. It is coming. Is it is coming or he is coming? It's more of... It's more of it.
Yeah. The A kind of dehumanizes the person.
Yes.
So it's no longer he, it's more of an it.
It is coming. The thing is coming. How many have said that in your house before? A by A. Raise your hand. Look, if I feel lonely, I think I have to. Curtis, let's go to the backstage. I think you continue telling me the story in the room. Okay, continue.
Yeah. So then everybody would go to their room. My twin sister Akwele.
You all scatter.
Yes.
When you hear the horn.
Yes. So everybody would go to their room. If it's something really interesting, we'll continue watching it in our rooms. But then, like the living room, there'll be nobody there. So there was this time that he came into the house. Everybody was in their room. But I opened the door of my room a little bit to see. And then I realized that when he entered the living room, the hall, he put his stuff down. And then he went to the TV. And then he did something interesting. He put his hand behind the TV and felt it. And if you do that, immediately you know that the TV is warm. So you know that people were watching it prior to your arrival. And then
when they heard you were coming,
that's when they left.
Everybody scattered.
And
how do you think he felt? Yes. That's it. As he entered, realized that everybody has dashed. Everybody's in the room as if they are sleeping. Oh, yes. Continue.
So when you came to the First Love Church and you were speaking to us, it was something that I think it was either the first or second time you were speaking to us. One of the questions you asked is, how many of you have a problem with your fathers? Or how many of you like your fathers? How many of you do not like your fathers? And of course, I said that I didn't. And I felt justified because I felt that I knew the reasons why I shouldn't like my father.
He's somewhere, you see.
But you started to talk about it, you preached about it, you said, like your father. I think that's the main thing I remember. You said, like your father. I had a meeting with you, and you said, like your father, Curtis, like your father. So I said, I will try. And then I started, like, when he would come home, because he usually came home late, around 11, 12, I decided that I wouldn't retreat to my room any longer. I'd wait for him and sit there, talk with him. I started going to his room to try and have a conversation with him. I would call him without an agenda. I would call him without like something to buy or something that I needed from him. And in the beginning, it was a bit rough because I could feel that he was...
Was he surprised?
He was very surprised and I think suspicious of my motives. That why am I doing...
Why will you not be suspicious? When Bijosh came and he was now like a Christian and he came around and he was, trying to do things. My first reaction was I was suspicious. I said, this is not genuine. I don't know this way. He's trying to help. He's trying to do this. Like, I've not seen this one before. Yes, you'll be suspicious. It's like, what is going on? Is there a plan? There's a new plan you don't know about. Yes, continue.
Yes, so we had that period where I realized that, like, even though he didn't warm up to my advances, but then as time went on and he realized that I wasn't changing, I was here to stay, then it was like a switch. Everything changed. Then all of a sudden, I'll be there, my father will call me, and then he would say things, hello, my son. And it was something that I had never heard before in my life. And then he would just call for us to chat. If he's doing a project, something, he would say, okay, I'm going here. I'm going to see this land. I'm building this. Come and sit in my car or come home from school. I want to go along with you. I remember there was one time I even messaged you that he was starting a business of some sort and he was registering the company. And then he called me to come and say, I have some documents for you to sign. And then when I got home, he gave me the documents and told me to sign here and be like my assistant for what I'm doing. And then I messaged you about that. I cannot believe the change. It was like night and day. All of a sudden, my father was like my friend. And then he started to give me things without me having to ask for them. Where at first I would have to calculate and call and then say, oh, I need this, I need that. Now he started to be like, okay, I saw this. Would you like it? I saw this phone. I saw this thing. I saw this, that. I remember when I was even in school, where at first I couldn't even broach the idea. he would come and say, okay, you are in law school now. I think you need a car. So come home, let's go and look at some cars. And then my dad bought me a car. And it didn't stop there. It changed my life totally. I became very comfortable. I became somebody who didn't have need for anything. But more than that, I became someone who knew that like my father liked me. And it was a really nice and strong relationship. I remember telling you when my dad passed that he had COVID and then he was struggling. And the last phone call I ever had with him, we talked, he told me a couple of things. Then at the end of the call, he said, I love you. And that was the one time, the first and the final thing I ever heard from him. A couple of weeks later, he was gone. And I just looked back and realized that it was 6-7 years of like a real relationship with my dad. And sometimes I think about it and I wonder if I hadn't moved when you said, like your father, that I would be living in regret. Because what I didn't know at that time when you were giving me that instruction was that I had 7 years. I had only 7 years to have a relationship with my father. He was not going to be there when I got married. He was not going to be there when I had a son. I had a limited window for obedience, 7 years. And so even though I regret that it took all that time, for my relationship with him to change, I thank God for those last 7 years.
Wow. What a blessing. What a blessing. Put your hands together for this amazing testimony. Amen.